Well, if you think about cities, they're where the weather hits home. People feel the impacts of climate change there, but they're also the incubators of innovation for addressing climate change. One thing we're particularly focused on at the United Nations Foundation is a concept called energy efficiency accelerators, working with mayors to take good energy efficiency policies and translate them into action at the city level. But as we demonstrate how to use the density of cities to advantage so that less energy is used per person, then we can contribute in a positive way from cities to climate change rather than just being the victims of its effects. Well, the lack of access to electricity is mostly a rural problem, as you might imagine. Most cities are wired up. But in cities, there's a different problem, which is even though there's wires, not everybody's paying for it, not everybody is reached by it, and the power is intermittent. You might have it for 4 hours a day. And if you're trying to run a business, that's an impossible situation. So I think there are very interesting experiments going on with different kinds of payment methods. Some people are paying for their electricity the way they pay for their mobile phone minutes. Literally with their phones, they buy their electricity in advance. And then they can buy as much as they can afford, and then when they can't afford anymore, the power goes off. That gives them some certainty that the power will be there when they need it. And so really putting the proposition onto a sustainable business footing is the key, because people value electricity. They want to have light. They want to have electricity for a refrigerator, a television, or for their business. They're willing to pay for it, and it's often cheaper than some of the dirty fuels that they're using right now, like charcoal. So I think that this is a very solvable problem, but we have to work through the logistics of it. Well, politics starts at home. And what happens in the international level bubbles up from popular sentiment all around the world. And the cities are an obvious place to aggregate that political sentiment. So if people in cities are feeling the impacts of climate change, if people in cities are starting to develop the solutions to climate change, that will percolate through the political system and cause that international pressure to be sustainable. So I think really cities are the heartbeat of how you begin to have action on climate change. They feel it directly, and they also have the ability to make the change both technically and politically.